Hello, and welcome back to another edition of the Creamsicle Chronicle podcast. My name is JT Olson, in case you forgot, which you very likely have because it's been a minute. It's been a little while since we went live here. But you know what? It is the playoffs. Everyone has to step up their game, fans included. So we are live. When I say we, I mean just me. Co-host Garrett Ballard is out tonight. He is on the IR, but he is probable to return next week for the second round. So it's okay. In these kind of games, you don't want to push your star players. You just kind of want to ease it into them. There's a business trip. You go in, you take care of business, and then you get your stars back next week and when you really need them. So we are pressing forward, just me, solo tonight. And then hopefully we can preview next week's playoff game with our full team for the first time, I think, all season. It has been a rough season in terms of recording, but we are fully back, and we could not be back anymore in time for the playoffs. So excited for the game tomorrow. It feels like Christmas Eve tonight because, it's playoff football, man. Even just watching the games today, I'm recording Saturday night, watching this Chargers-Texans game that happened earlier, even though it wasn't close, man, it just felt good to be watching playoff football. Ravens-Steelers I got going on in the other room. Ravens are obliterating the Steelers. This is not even remotely entertaining. But it makes me happy. It makes me happy because the tournament is on. And once you're in, you got a chance. And that was the case for the Texans earlier. Texans, everyone expected them to get blown out, to get smacked by the Chargers. Justin Herbert, one of the 10 best quarterbacks in football. Jim Harbaugh, one of the better coaches in football, college or pro. Texans had other plans. It wasn't even close. Justin Herbert threw more interceptions tonight than he did all season. And that's what the playoffs is all about. It is do or die. It is one game elimination. One bad night and you're out. And that's what makes it fun. That's what makes it really fun. Because you can break it down from every angle. You can say, you have the advantage here, you got the advantage there, this should be a win. And then the whistle blows. And you got 60 minutes to determine the game. And it doesn't always go to plan. And that's kind of what we're looking at with the Bucs this week. Bucs are hosting the Washington Commanders, a good Washington Commanders team, 12-5. And, initial thoughts, they have more wins. They have a dynamic young quarterback. Jaden Daniels is such an exciting player. Everyone's kind of looking at Washington as this trendy upset pick. And, that's fine. It's the playoffs. Like I said, anything can happen. The tournament has started. There's always a 12 seed beating a 5 seed. There's always upsets. I don't hate anyone who likes Washington as a trendy upset pick. But you got to tell me why. Because the more I look at this game, the more you look at the matchups, the more it favors the Buccaneers. Like everything really goes in their corner. You got the home team. You got a team who is a really good run defense going against a team that has to run the ball. So you can take away their greatest strength offensively. And you've got a lot of strength offensively. And Washington's defense is not good. So, there's every advantage for the Bucs offense. So, again, I'm not mad at it. Sometimes you make picks just on vibes. And Jaden Daniels is nothing but vibes. And everybody loves Jaden Daniels. I love Jaden Daniels. I think he's going to have a great game. I think he's going to infuriate us tomorrow because he's so slippery and he's so fast. And he just makes things happen. He's like Lamar Jackson. He just makes magic happen when, by all accounts, it shouldn't. But that's the kind of player he is. I'm excited to watch him. And I really think he has to have a great day tomorrow to make this interesting because the Bucs are the better team, and I don't think it's close. I don't think it's even remotely close. We saw it week one. Bucs played Commanders, first game of the season at Raymond James Stadium, and it wasn't close then. 17-point win. Baker Mayfield moved the ball all over the place. It was the breaking out game for Bucky Irving. First game, he led the team in rushing. He had a great game. And, Washington missed a couple of field goals in that game, if my memory serves me right. But even if they made them, it's not a close game because they got a late touchdown at the end, which is kind of a garbage time touchdown, which I think was the play that Antoine Winfield Jr. got hurt on. So, the score was really as close as it was. It wasn't one of those games where, the Bucs tacked on a late touchdown. It was bigger. It was closer than the score looked. No, it was just as big a blowout as the score looked. And yes, it has been a long season since then. Jaden Daniels has grown and developed. He is not even a rookie anymore because he's got a full season under his belt. The Commanders are not the same team we played week one. That's absolutely true. They're better. Bobby Wagner's looked better. He was a huge gaping hole in that defense when we played them. And Jaden Daniels is processing. He's really looked a lot better as a passer. And he has been so efficient. And he just gets the ball out fairly quickly. And when he doesn't, he makes magic happen. The running game is good. A lot of that is Jaden Daniels scrambling, designed runs. But a lot of it's Brian Robinson, too. Power element up the middle. He keeps defenses honest. He is the hammer that wants to wear a defense down so Jaden Daniels can gut him with speed. That's how they win. That's how they play. They want to run the ball. They want to run it with Jaden Daniels. They want to run it with Robinson. Both guys 800, 900-yard rushers this year. They don't have one dynamic ball carrier, but that duo is dynamic together. And in no way is that associated to Brian Robinson. I love the old school, 3-yard per carry, just grinded out running back like him or David Montgomery or, Jerome Bettis. But those guys aren't dynamic. They are physical. They are imposing. They are gritty. They are tough. They get all the garbage time or all the garbage yards that no one wants to get because the box is stacked with 8 or 9 guys and you're taking contact. But they do that dirty work and they make it happen. Teams need that. The Bucs need that. Washington has it. And it's really all there to set up Jaden Daniels. That's fine. I love that kind of offense. I love what Washington does. But like I said earlier, the Bucs are fully equipped to stop it. The Bucs have Vita Vea right there. Like you want to run it up the middle, Tampa Bay doesn't have to commit a lot of guys up the middle because they got one unmovable man who you're going to try and sneak by, but you won't. You're going to double team Big V, and he's just going to move you and make the tackle. So that frees up everybody else to really key in on Jaden Daniels. That's Logan Hall, Joe Tryon-Shoyinka, Yaya Diaby, Kalijah Kancey. And you crash on Jaden Daniels. If it is a read option, you get the quarterback. You keep him contained. You attack the outside shoulder. You don't worry about the guy running up the middle. We got someone for that. If the Commanders are going to make this interesting, it will be because Jaden Daniels has a remarkable day. So that's your goal, to prevent that. First step, prevent him from running. Keep him contained. Keep him in the pocket. You can do that. The Bucs front, Big V, okay, middle is covered. Kancey is as disruptive and hard to block as any defensive tackle in the league. He will get into the backfield. He will get Jaden Daniels off his spot, cause him to scramble, cause him to leave the pocket. Those edge guys really have to be on top of it. And say what you want about Joe Tryon-Shoyinka. He is not the pass rusher we hoped he'd be when he was drafted in the first round. And, that was somewhat predictable. Boom or bust, great athlete, raw player. He's never developed into that guy. But he is still a really good athlete. and he can keep things in contain. He will redirect Jaden back into the pocket. He can stretch out those long runs to the sideline. That's all he has to do. I don't need splash plays from JTS in this game. Do not need them. If you get them, great, but I don't need them. Just got to keep the lid on Jaden Daniels. Same with you, Logan Hall. I don't need splash plays. If you grit in the backfield, you cause pressure, you get him off the spot just like Kancey, cool. Great. Love it. But really, the name of the game is keep Jaden Daniels contained. If he's going to run out, stretch it to the sidelines. If he's going to try and bail, push him back inside. Make it difficult for him to get around you. The Bucs can do that. And I worry a little bit about Yaya with that because he is not as fast as JTS. He is big. He is powerful. He wants to attack forward. And sometimes he can get a little too aggressive with the way he attacks. And that's just his game. He's speed to power. But he does lose contain a little bit sometimes. And that's a little bit of a concern. But again, I think Jaden Daniels has to be great. And even if he burns you a couple of times, which I think he will, is that enough for him to have a great day? I'm talking 300 yards passing, 100 yards plus rushing. I don't know. I don't think it is. I think it's a tall order. Even if he gains chunk plays, 15, 20 yards. Is he going to rush for 150 in this game? I don't think so. That'd be 100 more than his per game average. But like I said, playoffs, one game. Anything can happen in one game. I don't think it will, though. I don't think it will. I think the Bucs front is too good. I think Lavonte David is too smart. And, we can say what we want about him slowing down this year, which he has. In coverage, he has lost a step. He is not the player he was 2-3 years ago. But that's in coverage. I'm not talking about coverage right now. I'm talking about attacking forward. And Lavonte David is still one of the smartest players in the NFL. He will see a gap. He will shoot a gap. He understands the angles. He will make tackles in space. He can still do that really well. He sees it. He processes it. He's so smart. He gets there faster than other guys, even though he's not as fast as he used to be. I think that is enough to really make Jaden Daniels human. I don't want to say limited. I don't want to say, looking like a rookie, anything like that, because I really hold Jaden Daniels in high regard. But I think that's enough for him not to go absolutely crazy in this game. Now, passing the ball might be another story. We have seen time and again this year this Buccaneers defense get absolutely gutted over the middle. Good quarterbacks, bad quarterbacks, young quarterbacks, old quarterbacks. The Bucs have been vulnerable. And yes, Lavonte David has been part of that. And the combination of KJ Britt and insert other warm body as a linebacker has been a part of that. Jordan Whitehead has been a part of that. Again, heal up Jordan Whitehead to get in a car accident right before the playoffs. That sucks in every way. For him, for the team. I mean, he struggled, but fans love Jordan Whitehead for what he was on that Super Bowl team. So we are all rooting for Jordan Whitehead's recovery. We're all praying for Jordan Whitehead to get back into form, be part of this team next year. But he hasn't been great this year. I mean, that's the bottom line. He has struggled. Antoine Winfield has been hurt most of the year. Got hurt in the first game, and he didn't look like himself when he came back. Finally coming back, maybe is going to be healthy. We don't know exactly what Antoine's going to look like. But after that first game, he did not look like himself. Now, he got a second injury later on. It gives him additional time to heal up. He's been out for a while. If we can get the real version of Antoine Winfield Jr., that's going to work wonders. It's not going to solve everything because You still got 2 corpses at linebacker and a huge question mark at the other safety spot. But you get the best safety in football back, that's going to help your defense over the middle. No question about it. Whether he's matched up with the tight end, whether he's on the running back, you feel a lot better with him in there. And we'll see, maybe Mike Edwards can recapture some of the old magic. He hasn't looked great since he came back. I mean, I'm happy to have him on this team, especially with all the injuries the Bucs have had. Losing Jordan Whitehead, losing Christian Izien. They have had a lot of injuries at safety this year. So I'm happy to have Mike Edwards back. But I'm not incredibly confident in Mike Edwards. I'd be lying if I said I was. So I'm hopeful that tandem can solve some of the safety problem. Do I think it can? Do I know it can? Not really. I hope it can. I know Antoine Winfield will help. But there's still 3 other guys around him in coverage who are a question mark. Can't be everywhere. So I think that's going to show its ugly head in the first half. That has been the Bucs' MO. First half, you let them dink and dunk. You let them have that over the middle stuff. We saw it in the loss against Dallas. Cooper Rush got the ball out fast, carved the Bucs up over the middle. We saw it against Spencer Rattler in the last week against the Saints. Carved the Bucs up in the first half. Really took advantage of that over the middle. Now you're getting Jaden Daniels, who has been very efficient. He can do that really well. I think he's going to. I think in the first half you're going to see more of that, and we're going to be frustrated at halftime. We're going to say, here we go again. Bucs playing down to their competition. Bucs didn't show up. Todd Bowles didn't motivate them. It's going to be tight in the first half. I really think that it is. Because Jaden Daniels is going to make it that way. He is really good. The middle of your defense is not very good. It's not a good combination. But we have to look at the big picture. That's been the Bucs' plan, their MO, the first half. Get a feel for the quarterback, get a feel for the offense. Let them dink and dunk. Don't let them get big plays. Second half, it's been locked down. It's been open and shut. Since the bye week, they've allowed a combined 23 points in 7 games in the second halves. And one of those was an absolute garbage touchdown against the Giants. So, I mean, you take that away because no one's even playing. You have backups in. No one cares at that point. That's 16 points in the second half in really 7 games. You can say what you want about Todd Bowles, and I have. I don't think he's a great time management guy. I've questioned some of his decisions, although he has gotten less conservative, but at times I still think he's too conservative. Todd Bowles makes really good second half adjustments. I don't like his cushion coverage. I don't like playing passive defense I want to force the issue, and too often Todd Bowles does not force the issue in terms of press, in terms of man coverage. But his adjustments in the second half have been on point. And he has gotten more aggressive in second halves. He has played less cushion coverage in second halves. So I got to give him credit for that. So even if this game is tight at halftime, which I think it will be, I think it'll be close, you got to feel good about the Bucs defense after halftime. Those adjustments, I trust Todd Bowles to make adjustments more than I trust Cliff Kingsbury. And more than I trust Dan Quinn, to be honest, because the Commanders are going to have to make adjustments to stop the Bucs offense, because the Bucs have every advantage their offense versus the Commanders defense. Commanders defense isn't good. Plain and simple. They're a decent pass defense. They've done well. I think way better than what they were to start the year. They've made a lot of changes in their secondary. Mikey Sanders still is a corner I really liked coming out of the draft from Michigan. They've gotten better in their pass defense since the Bucs put up nearly 300 yards and 4 touchdowns on them in week 1. It is not the same defense, but it's still not a good defense. I mean, Mike Evans is going to get his. And I don't care about the conversation regarding Marshawn Lattimore. I don't think Marshawn Lattimore can cover Mike Evans. I mean, sure, he'll have some wins. Every corner does. That's just how the game works. But it's going to be Marshawn Lattimore and a safety. It's going to be bracket coverage. That's how it is with Mike Evans. Every team does it, and when they don't, Mike goes off. And Mike's fine with that. He will take pressure off everyone and open up everyone else as long as it means the team's winning. And that's all that matters this week. Survive and advance. So Mike Evans, enjoy your double coverage. Say hi to Marshawn Lattimore. I know it's nothing but love there. But it's not going to be one-on-one. It's going to be double coverage. It's going to be bracket coverage. The Commanders are going to do everything in their power to not let Mike Evans beat them. Okay, that's fine. That's 2 defenders right there. So my next question is, how many defenders are they going to put in the box? Because the Washington Commanders have one of the worst run defenses in the NFL. One of the absolute worst, bottom 5. Guess who's top 5 in running the ball? You already know it's the Bucs. This offensive line is built for the playoffs. They are athletic. They are nasty. They are powerful. They are versatile. They do it all. And even though Washington has really good defensive tackles, and that could be a little bit of a problem with a young center and a left guard who I don't totally trust. Cody Mock and Luke Gedecke is one of the best duos in terms of run blocking in the NFL. The right side of the line, they are everything you want. They are tone setters. They are a huge reason why the Bucs set a franchise record in rushing this year. And the other part is Bucky Irving. The last time these two played, Bucky Irving was playing his first career NFL game, and he was not the starter. Now he is, and now he has a lot of problems in store for Washington. And he's going to get more carries, and I don't know how they stop it. I really don't. The Bucs should be able to block it, and even if they don't, he's so elusive, Bucky just makes plays happen. I mean, he's number 1 in the NFL in yards after contact. He's incredibly slippery. He is incredibly elusive. This has to be how they feel when I talk about like Jaden Daniels and how I feel. Like, man, this guy is going to frustrate us. Just when you think you've got him, you don't. So it's nice the Bucs have a player like that. But even though Bucky's the starter, and even though he's going to get a lot of the touches, most of the touches, and he should, Rachaad White's got to be a part of this game plan. Rachaad White's still one of the best pass-catching running backs in the NFL. And he carved Washington up for 75 yards through the air last time. And even though Bobby Wagner is looking a lot better since then, Bobby Wagner's like 35 years old, and he's always been a little bit stiff. That's a matchup the Bucs have to take advantage of. There is no world where you should not be throwing the ball to Rachaad White. Not in this game. Not with this matchup. I mean, this is a prime matchup to feature 2 running backs. Use the pony package. Put Bucky in motion, fake the handoff to Rachaad, pop a screen to Rachaad, let him do his thing. I mean, I want both of these running backs to get their touches. So, Washington, I don't know. Do they put 7 in the box? Do they put 8 in the box? You're already dedicating 2 to Mike Evans. You're running out of defenders real fast. And then it's going to be one-on-one matchups for like Sterling Shepard, for K-Dot, and for Jalen McMillan. And Jalen McMillan has really come alive. And this is the guy we thought we were getting at the beginning of the year. Garrett and I, we had said pre-draft, before we even knew he was a Buck, Jalen McMillan is going to be really good. He is going to be one of those unguardable slot guys because he could separate. He is fluid. The dude is really good. And we had Alex Katzen on, who covered the Washington Huskies, and he only vindicated what we said. Jalen McMillan, really, really good football player. Someone's going to get a gem. And when it was the Bucs, we were ecstatic because we knew this is the kind of player he could be. What we've seen down the stretch. I mean, talk about stepping up in Chris Godwin's absence. And it didn't happen right away. He's a rookie. It took him time to adjust to the physicality, to the grind. He's playing like twice as many games as he did in college last year. But he put it together. He always had the talent. And now he's learned the pro game. He understands what it takes to take care of his body week to week, to prepare week to week, to study film week to week. And you add that to his natural ability to separate what he is as a route runner. This is what you expect. You expect 7 touchdowns in 5 games kind of production. So that's one I'm really interested to see. If you're someone who likes to, place a little wager here and there, I would take Jalen McMillan over yards anytime touchdown. I'd also take Sterling Shepard anytime touchdown because one of those two guys is probably going to hit. Because, again, they're going to do everything in their power to take away Mike. So that's all right. Bucs have other weapons. This is one of the best 5 offenses in the NFL. They have a quarterback who has been one of the best in the NFL. An MVP caliber season. More than 45 touchdowns, I think. 44. I think it's 41 through the air, 3 on the ground, something like that. 4,500 passing yards, another 300 rushing yards. Baker Mayfield has balled out this year. Not just throwing to Mike, who only had 1,000 yards because he missed a month. Throwing to Chris, who went out before the midway point of the year. Throwing to Cade Otton, throwing to Rachaad White, throwing to Jalen McMillan, throwing to Sterling Shepard. I mean, these have been the guys all year. And you can say that guys like Shepard and Otton are role players, and that's fine. They get the job done. They play their role. You double team Mike, you focus in on the rush. These guys can hurt you. And I expect them to. Because, again, Washington's defense, it's not that good. And there's no reason to think the Bucs shouldn't put up 30-plus points in this game. If they got to 40, I wouldn't be surprised. And keep in mind, this is a playoff game. This is the time when the intensity is ratcheted up. When it's more about physicality and nothing comes easy. Points are harder to come by in the playoffs. I don't think it will be for the Bucs. Offense is too good. And if it is, it's a problem. Something went wrong. Baker played poorly. Someone got hurt. Liam Cohen had a bad day. And in the playoffs, all it takes is one bad day. But going into it, there's every reason to think that the Buccaneers should drop a bomb on this Washington defense. 34, 38 points. No reason they can't. No reason to expect otherwise. And again, if Baker Mayfield comes out and lays an egg, which he has a couple of times this year, it's a different conversation. Then you just got to scrap and claw for a win. You got to rely more on your defense. You got to, manufacture things. Baker Mayfield, if nothing else, he's a gamer. And I think in this big game, when all the chips are on the line, when Washington is a trendy upset pick, he is going to take and lead this Bucs with that underdog mentality, and I think he's going to play well. That's typically how a Baker is. When you overlook him, when his back's against the wall, when you're not expecting him to win, that's when he's good. That's when he's at his best. And I think most people probably expect him to win, but it's the playoffs. It's do or die. I think that's going to elevate Baker, and I think Baker's going to elevate everyone else. Because say what you will about him, he is a really great leader for this team. Everyone, just gravitates to him. Everyone loves his personality. Everyone loves his underdog mentality. He's got big FU energy to him, and I think the Bucs need that because there are a bunch of really nice guys on this team. Tristan Wirfs, Graham Barton, Mike Evans. Pick your favorite Buck, Vita Vea, Antoine Winfield. they're all super nice dudes, super high class, super professional. They need more attitude, and Baker gives them that. Baker will run into a linebacker and push the linebacker so the linebacker pushes him, so his guys will come up and fight with him. That's the energy he brings, and that's what this team needs. And that's really been great to have since Tom Brady left. Like that, I really had doubts about Baker coming in, but that attitude, that energy, right away you could tell it was going to resonate. And it really has in a big way. So I think we're going to see a lot of that tomorrow. I think it's going to elevate everyone. And I think this offense is going to hum. Again, I'm picking them to score 34 points. And I don't think Washington can keep up with it. So that's where I'm at. This is I'm not going to say an easy win because there are no easy wins in the playoffs. I mean, when I walked in here, the Ravens were up 21-0 and the Steelers had like 60 total yards of offense. I wouldn't even call that an easy win because it's always hard fought. It's always incredibly physical. People are laying their bodies on the line, giving everything they have. So I'm not going to say it's an easy win and disrespect this Washington team, who is really good. But I think the Bucs have all the advantages, not to mention they're at home. So we'll see. I think this time next week, we are going to be talking about a matchup probably with the Eagles. Are we going to talk about Liam Cohen being named the next head coach? Because if Todd Bowles loses this game to a Washington team that he should beat, I don't think he's coming back. But that's not what I want. I want Todd Bowles back. I want this Buccaneers team to go on a run and win the Super Bowl. I want there to be no question on who the head coach should be because Todd Bowles has led them to the promised land. That's what I want. And Todd Bowles is a lot more good than bad. I think this team can get there. I think the NFC is wide open. But you can lose to anyone at the same time. There is a pathway to get to the Super Bowl. And then we'll talk about matchups when we get there. But you can't overlook anyone because anyone can win. This Washington team could get to the Super Bowl. I don't think it's as likely as the Bucs. I think the Bucs are probably the second best team in the NFC right now. But they can do it because I don't think there's a dominant team. And you look at the Lions, their entire defense is on the IR. Look at the Eagles, I think they're a little bit fraudulent. Yeah, they got a really good running back. Their defense has played well. I don't trust Jalen Hurts. The Rams, it feels like Matthew Stafford's best days are behind him. I don't think they have a lot of playmakers outside of Puka Nacua. The Vikings, like Sam Darnold, I don't trust him. And really, there's a real case to be made that the Bucs should get to the NFC Championship game, if not the Super Bowl. That should be the expectation. NFC Championship game at minimum. Potentially Super Bowl. Potentially Super Bowl champions. I think anything less than that is disappointing. And if you lose tomorrow, it's a fireable offense. I don't think that's going to happen. Again, I think this is going to be a game that is close at halftime, but the Bucs pull away in the second half because I don't think Washington can keep up with this offense. Defense is good enough to slow them down, and that's all you have to do when your offense is this good. And Washington's defense is not good. Am I worried at all about really anything Washington does outside of Jaden Daniels? Not really. I'm not. I respect their defensive tackles. Washington has a really good group of defensive tackles, and I can't take anything away from them. They're really good. They can help slow down Bucky Irving in this running game. But I don't love their linebackers. I don't love their secondary. I don't love their edge rushers. So, I mean, sure, the defense tackles can ruin a play or two, maybe 4 or 5. I think that's a drop in the bucket. The Bucs are going to run a lot of plays on offense. The Bucs can get chunk yards and balance out some of those negative plays that those guys up front can cause. On offense, Brian Robinson is not explosive. He is a hammer, and to a hammer, every problem looks like a nail. I like players like that, but he's not going to change the landscape of this game. Receivers, man, I don't know what to tell you. It's not a good group. I mean, I can't even name half these guys. Terry McLaurin is a good wide receiver. He's having a really nice year. I think he's second in the NFL in touchdowns for all receivers. And he's always been underrated because the quarterback play in Washington has been bad for a long time. I don't think he's an elite receiver. I don't think he's a guy who's going to put up 150 yards in this game. I don't think he's someone who can carry this offense like the way Mike Evans carries this offense. And I don't think they have enough behind him. They have a 34-year-old Zach Ertz. What else? They have a 5'8" speed receiver, which is cool, I guess. He's been a journeyman his whole career, a 3 or a 4 option. But hey, he's the number 2 on Washington's wide receiver core, so good for him. I don't think that's going to lead to success, but cool, man. Power to you. I just don't think Washington has enough firepower. That's what it comes down to. Bucs offense is great. Washington's offense is good. Bucs defense is okay. Washington's defense is bad. It's advantages on both sides of the ball. Even if Jaden Daniels is a superhero, the Bucs should win. I want to say I'm not scared of this Washington team, even with the knowledge that any team can win. It's any given Sunday. This is the only Sunday that matters. Baker Mayfield could throw 4 interceptions this game. You never know. Anything can happen. Marshawn Lattimore, make plays. It's possible. And it's possible that the Packers win the Super Bowl as the 7th seed. Anything is possible. But what do I expect? I expect to win this game by a touchdown plus if I'm the Bucs. 7, 10, 14. I think that's a fair expectation going into it. And then we're talking about round 2. It is step by step. It is one game at a time. Can't overlook anyone. But I think we as fans should feel very confident going into this game. I think even though Washington is better than they were week 1, the Bucs are better than they were week 1. Keep in mind, that was Liam Cohen's first game as the Bucs offensive coordinator. Baker, the receivers, the offensive line, they're all getting used to each other still in that new offense. So learning the new offense, what they like to do, what they're good at. The running game has completely changed since then. How they approach it stylistically, what they want to try and do, who is carrying the ball. It's all gotten better. Graham Barton, we talked about Jaden Daniels isn't a rookie anymore. Graham Barton isn't a rookie anymore. He's played every game this year, I think, except for 1. That's a lot of experience to gain. And even if the Commanders are going to play games at the line of scrimmage and send pressure and send different looks, Barton's played a lot more games than he had week 1, so he's more prepared for it. He's adjusted to the physicality of this game. Keep in mind, this is a guy who played left tackle in college, played his first game at center in the NFL when they played Washington. He is learning the finer points of the position. He's getting better and better, and we're going to see that tomorrow. I already talked about Jalen McMillan. He is a different player. Even guys like Devin Culp, 7th-round pick, he's been a key player in these last 2 games for the Bucs. And he is a playmaker at tight end, so if he gets some reps, he can make a splash play. He is a completely different player who was a non-factor when they played week 1. Payne Durham has come a long way. Bredesen has come a long way. He was a journeyman guard who nobody wanted. He came in on a prove-it contract to compete for the job, and he only won the job because his competition blew out his knee. He's been solid. I'm not going to say he's been spectacular. I think he's been better than expected, though. He has not been this gaping hole in the line. And he's gelled with this group really well. Tristan Wirfs has gotten better. More and more snaps at left tackle. All-pro. First player ever to be an all-pro as right tackle and left tackle. Shout out. And side note, Tristan Wirfs, when it's all said and done, he's going to be the best player in franchise history. The best Buccaneer ever. And nothing but love for Derek Brooks or Mike Evans or Warren Sapp or whoever you want to put in there. Rondé Barber, Leroy Selman. Tristan Wirfs is special. He is Jonathan Ogden. He is Walter Jones. He is whoever you want to put is that great, all-time great tackle. That's Tristan Wirfs. And he's only getting better. Second year at left tackle. So, yeah, I think the Bucs are a lot better now than they were week one when they blew out the Commanders by 17 points. And I'm not expecting that result necessarily, but I do think it's going to, at the end, be comfortable. Uncomfortable at halftime, but the Bucs just have too much. It's not realistic to expect Washington to keep up with this team. In a one-game scenario, winner take all, anything can happen. Again, they can do it. But to expect them to do it, I don't think that's realistic. So that's where I'm at. I'm confident. Try not to be overconfident. Don't want to be arrogant. Jaden Daniels is special. Terry McLaurin's had a great year. This coaching staff has done a really nice job turning this Washington team around. But the fun storyline has to end here. The better team has to play like the better team, and that's the Buccaneers. So we'll see. Next week, we'll see what the conversation is. I'll have Garrett with me next week, so we'll be able to dive a little bit more in depth in some of the matchups, hopefully, or some of the things that went wrong and the coaching change. But until then, take a breath. The game is coming up real fast. It's going to be stressful, so prepare for it. Do your thing. If you're going out to tailgate, do your prep work. Drive safe. Enjoy the game. And let's make sure everyone who's going to be at that game really show out, because the Bucs have a reputation of having a soft fan base. Yeah, we don't want to be the LA Rams. We don't want to be, one of these teams who gets taken over in the playoffs. We've been taken over a lot in the regular season. Other teams, their fans fill the stadium. But this is the playoffs. This is where you have to have home field advantage. So if you're going, enjoy the game, represent. Everyone else, strap in. It's going to be fun. And until next week, I am JT Olson. You can find all of my written work at bucksreport.com. You can find my podcast at bucksreport.com. We are the Creamsicle Chronicle podcast. Until next week, go Bucs.